This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1148 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Kentucky Performance Products. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today, Glenn sits down with dressage rider Mary Lauritsen to chat about why and how you should spend some time training your horse to trailer. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Kentucky Performance Products.
Her life was falling apart around her, but when she saw his sweet face and heard the low nicker, the pain eased. She stood in the stall for some time, running a brush over his sleek coat, down his powerful muscles and over his tight, cool tendons. He cocked his back leg, waiting patiently. She scratched his favorite spot and was rewarded with a crinkled smile and outstretched neck. The stress flowed from her body, and she knew with him in her life, she would make it through. This love story is brought to you by Endure Extra, providing high-fat calories, direct-fed microbials, and natural vitamin E to support optimal condition and performance. The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Call 859-873-2974 or visit kppusa.com to order today.
All right, so what are we talking about today? How are we helping people?
Today, we are going to talk about trailering, more so do's and don'ts. More the do's and less the don'ts.
All right,
cool. So we've all dealt with them, the horses that will not load on the trailer. And it can be one of the most frustrating things to work with in the equestrian world, I think.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, it really, really is a difficult thing to have to deal with. And
Well, you know what the biggest problem is? And you've found this too. You know your horse. You know what the situation is. You're trying to load your horse, and then all of a sudden there's 15 people involved. And they all want to help, quote unquote, and all they're doing is making it worse.
Exactly. Oh, I know. You see that so much too at shows, especially. You know, everybody wants to get home, and there's one trailer that's blocking the way out because one stubborn horse won't load, and suddenly everyone on the showgrounds is trying to help. And I think, like you said, too many hands can actually worsen the situation.
Well, it does is freak the horse out.
Right. Suddenly have this crazy mob shoving them into a box.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a couple of pointers that have helped me in sticky trailer situations, and I think the key to their success is patience. And we all know how valuable patience is when dealing with horses in any situation, but especially so when working with horses on trailering. One tip that I feel can definitely help most horses is using the lunge line as a tool. And this is a 2-person job, not a 15-person job. You can just have 2 people for this one. Many trailers have the metal tying rings on the sides for those who tie their horses to their trailers at shows and events. And you can simply tie one end of the lunge line to the side of the trailer and then carefully walk behind the horse with the lunge line. And while one handler is leading the horse under the trailer, you firmly apply pressure to the horse's haunches with the lunge line on the other side. And this acts as a guiding tool that applies pressure to both sides of the horse's haunches and encourages them to walk on the trailer. And again, this is something of course, you take your time trying to get them on. And if nothing else is working, then I think the lunge line's a really safe thing to go to. Secondly, grain. All horses can be coaxed by food. We all know this. And the use of grain in a bucket is a rewarding experience. And by offering them a taste with every step they take on the ramp and eventually on the trailer, they learn very quickly that the trailer is not such a scary place. Of course, this is a bit of an obvious statement, but when traveling with multiple horses, you should always load the most reliable horse on first, because the other horses will realize that one of the members of their herd is safe and relaxed in the trailer, and they should be too. And last but not least, they say practice makes perfect, but especially when dealing with horses, practice makes better. And practice loading on the trailer before the day of an event or show. The last thing you want to do is be trying to put your horse on the trailer for the first time when you have to be somewhere and you're in a rush. So
and how many times does that happen?
I think it happens pretty often.
Yeah, it does. And also people will go, well, they're bad getting them on the trailer. I'll just wait till show day and then deal with it then.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so we're just going to totally stress my horse out before we take him to their first show. That's really bright too.
Yeah, that's the worst mistake you can make.
That's sort of like stressing the rider out before you take him to the first
right.
show.
And I mean, we spend so much time training every day leading up to a competition that why not go ahead and spend some time training your horse to trailer so you can actually get there on time.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as lots more tips at horsetipdaily.com. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free Horse Radio Network app for iPhone or Android. Go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. And of course, you can also subscribe via iTunes. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of Kentucky Performance Products and listeners like you. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.